Stroke blog, the 3rd of August. Here is my book. This is the first page. Jenny and Geoffrey were always arguing. As brother and sister they were constantly at each other. Now it was the summer holidays from school. "What shall we do today, Jen?" exclaimed Jeff. "What about the new plane Aunt Betty bought you? For once you are right. Fantastic idea. Maybe 4-acre field." "Great idea. Why aren't we arguing?" "Because I'm always right," said Jeff. I'm sitting by my pond here. Next page. They packed a lunch and Jeff checked out the plane and fuel. There it is. Next page. After 2 or 3 minutes waiting at the bus stop, 2 buses arrived. Why does that always happen? The first one was nearly empty, so after arguing where to sit, Jeff had his way. Front seat upstairs, great view. They lived in the middle of a busy town, so after passing the ugly factories, the green of the fields and trees were a welcome relief. On they travelled. Jeff was glued to his game. Mothership Fights Back. He had completed this very hard game several times. Today he wanted the record score. Over the rickety bridge that always looked as though it would crumble with the weight of a bus. Today the time whizzed by. 3 more stops until Uncle Peter's farm. Jeff paused his game, otherwise it meant starting all over again, and he had just destroyed the first of 3 scout ships that were covered in lasers, and Jeff had only passed these twice before. They could see 4-acre field in the distance, so time to get off. Jen rang the bell. The bus slowed to a stop opposite the gate. Uncle Peter always said, "Close the gate after you. Country code." It creaked open. The sky was clouding over, typical when it was holiday time. "Well, I hope the wind doesn't get any stronger," said Jeff. They closed the gate as instructed. Next page. The plane had a petrol engine and was radio controlled. This was the first flight without adults watching. Jeff was the expert as far as flying planes was concerned. Jen was more into reading books. Jen took the controls whilst Jeff carefully picked up the plane, ready to launch, taking care not to get his fingers near the propeller when it started. It started with a bang as the electric starter kicked in. Jen raised the aerial of the remote control box and flicked the accelerator, which made the engine burst into life. The propeller swished round so fast it was like a blur. Jen checked the controls to make sure the flaps worked, left, then right, up, then down. All fine. Jeff warned Jen he was going to launch. The engine screamed out as the controls were lifted. It pulled at Jeff's arms. He carefully lifted the nose and the engine accelerated. The plane lunged forward and took to the sky like a graceful bird. Up and up it climbed. Jen returned the controls to Jeff. Now for a turn to test the wind and controls to see if they were working properly. As Jeff tweaked the lever, the plane reacted perfectly, tilting to the left towards the forest with a tall fence separating it from the field. Stinging nettles grew right up to the fence as the tractor couldn't get any closer to cut them. Beep! Oh, Jeff realised the pause on his game would run the batteries down and he would lose all of his game, so he saved it just in time and put it back in his pocket. Suddenly a loud crack of thunder erupted from above the forest. Save the plane was his first thought. He tweaked the control, but nothing happened. "What's wrong?" cried Jen. "Something's blocking the signal," Jeff replied. And so on.